Good evening, ladies. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. All right, today is Sunday Fun Day, and it is October 5th. So let's see, what are we doing today? We are going to do a very simple card today. Your base needs to be 5.5 by 8.5, and it is scored at 4.25. That is your standard A2 size. Hi, Lori. I'm gonna say hi, Jeannie, because I'm betting you're both together. We're just getting started. All right, so you're gonna do your standard A2 size. We are going to have a piece of cardstock that is 4 by 5.25. Oh boy, some of my things went shifting on me. Let me unstick that. Okay, so I'm going to have some die cuts. I did an acorn and some leaves. Hey, Mary Lynn, how are you doing? We are going to have a stackable die cut, and mine are 1.25 by 2, and then the other one is 1 3/4 by 2 1/4. So they will stack something like that. So I'm just going to kind of set those aside for a second. We are going to use this. Oh, this paper is stunning. I love it. Autumn Toile, I believe is the name of it. And it is 2 by 4.25. And then we are going to have a piece of specialty paper. This is the Earthen metallic. It is, oh, it's so dreamy and rich and bronzy, and I hope you can see it. It's just how beautiful it is. And that is a 1 by 5.5 inch piece. Okay, so I'm going to move some things around. I do need to grab my sketch because, yes, I forgot it. I gotta grab it. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to take my base, and I'm going to take that sticky do off. So we don't need that anymore. Now, we do have this piece of sage that is 4 by 5.25. Now, you could have this as embossed if you want. I'm thinking I might want to emboss the specialty paper. I think that would be lovely. So I'm just going to set that aside. Let's set my die cuts aside too, so I can pull in the embossing folder. And before I do that, I think I want to do some type of a treatment to this piece, to the 4 by 5.25. Now this is sage from close to my heart. So maybe what we should do is pull in a little more sage with like a blending brush. That might add a little more depth to it. So I'm going to grab that. And I am working on my glass mat. Hey, Patty, good to see you. So I'm going to bring in, let's move my card base out of its way. And I'm going to start off on the mat, and I'm just going to bring it in, and I'm going to it's called haloing. So I'm just doing around the edge. Let me lift this up so that you can kind of see how there's just a hint of the color at that top. So it's almost like there's a halo effect. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to do circular motions of my ink on my blending brush, and I am starting off and bringing that in so I don't get a harsh line. And I'm just kind of bringing it all the way around. Let's do a little more. I'm just turning so that it's easier for me to see. And I'm just haloing it out. And where the two sides meet at that point, I am bringing it in a little bit further so that there's a little more dimension and depth. Let's do this last side. That I'm loving. That is perfect. Absolutely perfect. So I'm going to move this out of my way, and we're just going to give one little spritz. And I'm just going to use a wipe, and I'm going to wipe that off. Perfect. All right, let's take my sticky note off of that. Let's make sure that it's dry, and it is. And we are going to take the piece that we just haloed with our ink, and we are going to adhere that to the front of our card. For those of you who are signed up for the Christmas card workshop in 2 weeks, I finished cutting today, which I'm so happy that that is finally finished. That was a project and a half. Okay, so that I'm loving. Now our specialty paper is going to go from the top to the bottom all the way. That's why I was kind of thinking I might want to do a little bit of a dry embossing with an embossing folder. And then this piece is going to lay here. And you could put this over if you want, or you could put it under. Choice is yours. I'm leaning towards under because this paper is just so pretty also. But I think I want that embossed. I really do. I think I want that embossed. So I'm going to look for an embossing folder really quick. And I think I'm going to use that because it's a very subtle pattern. Okay, there we go. Let's bring in our embossing machine. So we do need to clear a few things off. And I will, it's a 3-dimensional folder, so I will need plate 1 and 4. Let's take our piece of paper, the metallic paper, and I'm just going to place that in. I'm going to close that folder. And now, we will send it through the embosser. So the table is going to wiggle. Just getting ready. And there we go. Let's close that up and get that off the table. And let's see. Oh my goodness. Ladies, look at that richness. That is just gorgeous. Okay, so we are going to put this down first. So since it has been embossed, I do want to be a little more generous with my adhesive so that I know for sure I am getting a good contact. Okay, so let's see. Yep, I'm at a line, and I am going to go 1 inch from my left-hand side. Let's make sure I'm back on a line. So 1 inch. Okay, right there. There we go. And do we need to trim? Oh, we do need to trim just a teeny tiny bit off. Let me grab my scissors. There we go. Perfect. And that's right where we're sitting so far. I will need to add a little more adhesive, I think, down there with liquid. And I will do that in a little bit. Now we're going to take this piece. And I think this piece, we do need to do a little inking just to bring it in. So let's grab some toffee ink. Or better yet, pecan pie. Okay, and I'm gonna go very light and very close to this edge. I don't want a ton. All right, let's turn here. I'm just gonna get that little bit of the edge. Just a little. And I am just tapping it. I can't believe tomorrow is Monday and it's back to work time again. Why do the weekends go by so fast? All right, now that I've done that, I am going to just do direct to paper. And I just made, I don't know if you can tell. Here, I'll put it on like the back of the card. I just made that line super dark right at the edge. So let me show you again. I'm going to take my little ink spot and I'm going to put it at like a 45-degree angle, and I'm just dragging that across the edge of the paper. I'm not bringing it in, I'm not swiping down. All I'm doing is just that edge, making sure that the white core isn't showing. Just like that. Okay, let's clean up the table again. Let me tell you, I'm loving this glass mat. I just wish it was a tiny bit bigger for scrapbooking, but it's okay. I can live with it. Let's make sure we're dry. We are. Okay, and we're going to put our adhesive on the back. All right, let's see. I think I want to come down 1 inch, 2 inch. Let's go like 1.5. I'm not gonna put it straight down. I just kind of want to see. All right, so this is my 1.5 inch line. Right? 1.5. Yes, so the top of the pumpkin paper is going to be 1.5 inches from the top. Actually, I'm going to bring it up another 1/2 inch. So I'm going to be now 1 1/4. Nope, 1 inch. I'm only going 1 inch down ish because I don't look like I'm on a line. Okay, so I'm going to do that just like so. All right, let's set that aside for a moment, and we are going to bring in our 2 pieces that are stacked. Now, these both came from a die set called Nested Essential Dies, and the number for that is 161597, and I believe these are still available. And they are just fantastic. All right, let's do a little bit of pecan pie on that. Since it is a fall card, I just want to emphasize these colors. These colors are just so beautiful and so rich. So we're just going to emphasize those colors. Okay, that looks lovely. And I'm going to do a little bit of Cajun Craze on that one. I used paprika, but we're going to pull in Cajun Craze. I have half of the stuff was sitting on my table, and the other stuff I forgot to pull out. But look at how lovely that little bit just gives you, so that it's a little more rich, a little more emphasis on those colors, which are just so beautiful. Love them. Okay, now we need to stamp a sentiment on the brown piece. So I think I'm going to do, oh boy, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Let's see how that fits. You're in my thoughts. Oh, I like that, because this would be a beautiful masculine card. With deepest sympathy, I think I like you're in my thoughts. I don't think anything else is going to fit. They're not. I do like you're in my thoughts. So let's grab that and a block. Okay. And I think we need to stamp in a darker color, so I am going to grab like espresso or early espresso, either one of those. Actually, I think I'm going to grab Mocha, because that's even darker, and I really want that sentiment to stand out. Since it is a photopolymer stamp, I do want to make sure I have a nice little cushion for it. And we are going to stamp that right in the center. I'm just going to let it sit there for just a moment so that it soaks into my paper. Hi, Cindy. Okay. Oh, lovely. That is lovely. Now, this is a set from my stash, but you can use any sentiment that you have. And we are going to put these two together just with that regular adhesive. Let's just stack those. I'm just centering it. And now we're going to add some dimensions. So let's add some dimensionals. And guess who does not have any sitting in front of them? Well, well, that's a conundrum. All right, I got to grab that too. Why they were put away, I have no idea. Now, I do have a little tip on these dimensionals, so I'm going to show you that right now. So these come like as little hexagons, like that. So I'm going to just take my marker, and I am just running a line right down. So that then I can see them and know right where I'm grabbing. I might want to let these dry a hot second. You could also use a Sharpie. Because then you will be able to see right where each one is. Okay, so I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool because they are still kind of wet and I don't want the marker all over my fingers. So I'm going to do the 4 corners and I'm going to do 1 in the center. Now, these are popping right off so easily. And that's even easier. There we go. Now I chose to use my dimensionals as opposed to a thinner foam because I'm going to be tucking things underneath. So now I'm going to place my sentiment down like so. And we are going to bring in our die cuts next. So we have some leaves and we have this beautiful acorn. And again, I'm going to add a little bit of color just to add the dimension to all of my things. Just adds a little bit more oomph. Now, this acorn and the tiny leaves came from the Paper Pumpkin dies. So if you're not a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, I'm so sorry you cannot get it. However, if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you can get it if it's still available. And they have a new one each quarter, which is really nice. I'm going to give a little bit of Cajun Craze to these. I think I'm on the wrong side. I was. And the Paper Pumpkins, which personally, I think they're such an incredible value. And they're fun. They really, really are fun. Okay, we do need to have a little bit more. It does make a great acorn, and those leaves, Arlene, are fantastic. Okay, I had to grab one more blending brush, because of course, I didn't grab that one. So this is my dark brown. And I'm just adding that little bit of oomph to these. So let's do a little bit on our leaf. And we're gonna do a little bit on this leaf. There we go. So much better. And we're going to grab our liquid adhesive and we're gonna begin building our acorn first. So I'm going to grab the acorn body and then the little acorn topper, like so. So I'm going to add my adhesive right along this top edge, like that. And we're going to put the little acorn topper there. Now the paper that I am using is out of stock till tomorrow. Look how cute that is. So it's just, and I was personally thinking putting it down here, and then I'm going to tuck the leaves. So let's get ready to begin the tucking process. And I think I want to go from the bottom. And then we're going to do light. And let's do an orange one. Oopsie daisy. Maybe we'll use the acorn on the inside. What, and I did want to put a little bit down here. Let's just hold it there for a second. Okay, perfect. Oh, that looks so cute. Okay, now do we like those to be now put up here is the question. I don't know. I don't think I do. I like them down there. Maybe I want my acorn here. Oh, I do like the acorn there. Maybe we'll put those little leaves on the inside. We're going to put the acorn right there. Okay, so we do need a few dimensionals for this outer side. So I'm going to put one there and one there. And then let's put a little bit of adhesive here. Oh, doesn't that look cute? That looks so, so cute. As I probably just got ink all over the back of the card. I did. Nuts. Well, that's the beauty of it being a homemade card. So let's open this up and we are going to add our leaves down in this corner right here. Okay, so I'm going to put one there. And then I'm going to do that light one next. And then we just have the sentiment to do on our inside. And I do have some gems I think would be really pretty on this. All right, let's set those where they belong. So we did You Are in Our Thoughts. You Are in Our Thoughts. I think we could just do Thinking of You. Yeah. I don't like my heart is filled with gratitude. That doesn't go with that. So let's just do thinking of you on the inside. And again, we're going to stamp in the mocha. And you know what? Before I do that, I think I'm going to give just a tiny little swooshy wash right here in the center, right where I'm going to put my sentiment. And I'm just going in that circular motion. And let's just see, is that going to fit? Yeah, that's going to fit nice. Nice, 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 nice. All right, let's ink that up. Grab my little foam sheet. Excellent. And we are going to make sure we have no ink on our block. Now, starting in November with Stampin' Up, they are going to be eliminating the red rubber stamps. So all of the stamps starting in November will be coming out as the photopolymer. They are having an issue with the distributor, so they just decided, fine, we're done. We are done with the red rubber. Okay. Oh, see, doesn't that just adds and elevates your card just that tiny bit more. Okay, let's see. I pulled for my gems today. They are called the 2324 in color opaque sparkle dots. And that item number is 163782. And these I don't think are still around. I'm not 100% sure. And we are going to use the orange. Let's put one there. And they're all the same size, so that doesn't make a difference. So I'm going to do 3 of them, just like that. And that is our card for tonight. You are in our thoughts, thinking of you. Super simple. But with that embossing folder on the metallic paper, really, really adds so much more. It just elevates your card. You are so very welcome, Mary Lynn. Isn't that beautiful? It's so pretty. And next week, we will be making a fancy fold card. You will be seeing this paper again. So I'm thinking the month of October, we are going to be using this paper collection because it's so, so pretty. And I will post our dimensions on Wednesday. And I hope everybody has a great evening. This video will be moving over to YouTube shortly after we finish tonight and I get everything put away. So have a great week. And if you need anything, please just reach out. If you are interested in Paper Pumpkin, let me know. If you are interested in joining my team, even just for the discount for yourself, there's a great special going on right now. You pay $35 for $125 in product. What? So crazy. And then you would get your 20% discount. So just let me know if that's something that you're thinking and you're like, oh, yeah, I'd like to save a little money for myself. You can totally do that. Just let me know. And I will see all of you next Sunday for Sunday Fun Day. Have a great night. Toodles.